Juwayriyya bint al-Harith was a wife of Muhammad and a mother of the believers. She married the Islamic prophet Muhammad when he was 58 years old and she was 20, thus placing the marriage in 627 dates. Family background: she was the daughter of al-Harith ibn Abi Darah, the chief of Banu Mustalik, who was defeated with his tribe in a battle. Conflict between Muslims and Banu Mustalik. Main article: Invasion of Banu Mustalik. 2 months after Muhammad returned from the expedition of Dunarad, he began to hear rumors that the Banu al-Mustalik were preparing to attack him. So he sent a spy, Ubayd ibn Ali Sib al-Islami, to confirm this. The Banu al-Mustalik also believed that Muhammad was preparing to attack them, so they in turn sent a spy reconnoiter to explore the positions of the Muslims, but he was captured and killed by them. The two armies were stationed at a well called al-Muraisi, near the sea, a short distance from Mecca. They fought with bows and arrows for an hour, and then the Muslims advanced rapidly. They surrounded the al-Mustalik and took the entire tribe as prisoners, with the families, herds and flock. The battle ended in full victory for the Muslims. 200 families were taken as captives, 200 camels, 5,000 sheep, goats, as well as a huge quantity of household goods which were captured as booty. The household goods were sold in an auction to the highest bidder. The Mustalik lost a total of 10 men. Only one Muslim was killed by mistake by a helper. Juwayriyya bint al-Harith, daughter of the Banu al-Mustalik chief, was one of the captives. Juwayriyya captured as slave, freed and married. After minimal casualties, the Muslim forces were victorious. Among the many captives was Juwayriyya, whose husband, Mustafa bin Safwan, had been killed in the battle. She initially fell among Muhammad's companion Thabit b. al-Shamiz. Troubled by this, Juwayriyya sought a deed of redemption from Muhammad. Muhammad proposed to marry her and, as a result, freed her from the bondage of Thabit b. Qais and consequently ameliorated the condition of her captured tribe. From Muhammad Ali Qutb's book, Women Around the Messenger, the mother of the faithful, Aisha speaks about the day the Messenger of Allah took the women of Banu al-Mustalik as captives. He took out the 1/5 of them and divided the remaining ones among his companions, giving the cavalry soldier 2 shares and the infantry soldier a share. Juwayriyya fell into the share of Thabit ibn Qais al-Ansari. She was formerly married to a cousin of hers known as Mani ibn Safwan ibn Malik ibn Judhama, who is also known as Du ash-Shafra. She was bereaved of him. She then agreed with Thabit ibn Qais to buy her freedom with 9 uqiyya. Aisha describes her saying, "She was a pleasant woman. No one saw her except he became captivated by her, while the Messenger of Allah was when suddenly Juwayriyya entered asking him concerning her ransom agreement. By Allah, as soon as I saw her, I disliked her entering the place of Messenger of Allah, for I knew that he would see what I saw in her." She then started addressing Muhammad, "O Messenger of Allah, I am Juwayriyya bint al-Harith, the leader of his people. You are not oblivious of what had happened to me." So I fell in the share of Thabit ibn Qais and I agreed with him to ransom myself with 9 uqiyya. So help me to free myself. Muhammad replied, "Do you want what is better than that?" She said, "What is it?" Muhammad said, "I will pay on your behalf and then marry you." She said, "Yes, O Messenger of Allah." Muhammad then said, "I have done that." Aisha said, "Then the news of the marriage came to the people and started saying, 'Will the prophets-in-laws be held as captives?' Then the people freed all the captives that were with them of the tribe of Banu al-Mustalik. and the number of those freed reached 100 households because of the Prophet's marriage to Juwayriyya. Aisha added, "I knew of no other woman who brought greater blessing to her people than Juwayriyya, and that was when the Prophet was returning from the Battle of Murizay. Juwayriyya was, at the beginning of her Islam, the source of good and blessing, and this was her first credit." This incident was described in more detail. At the first opportunity she went to the Prophet and pleaded her case with him. She told him that she was the daughter of a chieftain and used to command, and because of her unfortunate circumstance she found herself in this helpless position. From a throne made of gold she had fallen into dust. How could she possibly live the life as a slave? She pleaded with the Prophet to take notice of the pitiful and desperate condition in which she found herself. The Prophet was moved by her sorrowful plea and asked her if she would like to live as a free woman and be part of his household if he paid her ransom. She had never in her dreams expected this offer. Moved deeply by this unexpected elevation in her status, she exclaimed she would be more than happy to accept. Some time later her father and all the men of her tribe who had been freed also accepted Islam as the religion. Consequently, she was married to Muhammad the Islamic prophet when he was 58 years old and she was 20, thus placing the marriage in 628. After her marriage, it is mentioned that she was very pious and spent most of her time engrossed in prayer, death and burial. She died at the age of 65 in the 50th year after migration and was buried with the other wives of Muhammad in Jannat al-Baqi. Her qualities. Juwayriyya was described as being very beautiful and refined. She was brought up in the lap of luxury, and had all the refinements and graces of a princess. Intelligent and wise, she mastered language and literary style. This was an accomplishment much prized by contemporary Arabs. All who saw were stunned by her exceptional beauty. Brought up as she had been in one of the foremost families of the time, she was not only beautiful but graceful, elegant, and eloquent. When Muhammad's wife Aisha first saw her, it is said she exclaimed that Juwayriyya was as beautiful as a fairy. Legacy. Juwayriyya bint al-Harith reported, "The Prophet came out from my apartment in the morning as I was busy in performing the dawn prayer. He came back in the forenoon and found me sitting there. The Prophet said, 'Are you still in the same position as I left you?' I replied in the affirmative. Thereupon the Prophet said, 'I recited 4 words 3 times after I had left you. If these are to be weighed against all you have recited since morning, these will be heavier. These are: Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, *tadada kalkihi, wa rida nafsihi, wa zinata *tarshihi, wa midada kalimatihi. Allah is free from imperfection and I begin with His praise, as many times as the number of His creatures, in accordance with His good pleasure, equal to the weight of His throne and equal to the ink that may be used in recording the words.'" Muslim.